Good.
How are you? Tell her I said hello.
Is it 5? Yeah, it is. She didn't get her.
What did she get?
I don't know. She acts like she'll have something.
What was it that was taken out?
The number 10. Leonard did, I guess.
Did you give her number 10? Which was number 10 in the updated agenda. Okay. Usually we try to put a copy in here too if it's like on the day of the meeting, but oh, did he bring 2 things out today?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yesterday and then today. Where did we take out on Thursday? We took the package out on Thursday, right? I think it was Friday. It was probably department head reports. Yeah. Tell them to get it in gear. Tell them. I'm gonna add it. Yeah.
I now call our city council meeting to order. If you would be so kind to stand for our prayer and pledge.
Amen. Father, we thank you for such an opportunity to serve. We ask that you continue to bless us with the wisdom and understanding necessary, Father, in unity to bring to pass all that we can do for this city and for every member of our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Attention, someone pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item number C is approval of the agenda, and I know that we have one item to add to the regular agenda.
It is a quote for a police car.
Number 3, quote for police car. Okay, and then motion to approve the agenda with those items that were, the 4 items that were added?
So moved.
Move second, call for discussion, any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, hearing none, motion carries. We'll go to agenda item number D, which is citizens' request. The city of Chipley welcomes you to this meeting. This is time set aside for the citizens of Chipley to address the city council. This is not a question and answer period. It is not a political forum, nor is it a time for personal accusations and derogatory remarks to or about city personnel. If you would like to address the city council, please raise your hand to speak. State your name and address for the record and limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes for the Florida Statute 286.0114. To ask a question via phone, dial *9 and wait to be recognized and unmuted. If you're attending via webinar, there will be an on-screen option to ask a question during the public comment portion of the meeting. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. Is there anyone here in the audience? Is there anyone here? If not, then we'll move to agenda item E, approval of minutes, regular council meeting January 13th. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Move second, any discussion? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move to consent, agenda, and there are 9, hold on, 10.
10.
There are 10 items listed under the consent agenda item. I will read them by title. The first one is resolution number 26-21, FBS firefighter assistant grant agreement, FM 1171, amendment 1. Number 2, bid number 2025-03, the Chipley Golden Building Phase 2, Aris General Contractors Incorporated, change order number 4. Number 3, bid number 2501, Florida Commerce CDBG ENR Peach Street Lift Station Project, GCUC LLC, change order number 2. Number 4, request a variance for 966 Lara Lane, WJHFL LLC. Number 5, industrial building lease, WP Property Holdings 1 LLC. Number 6, settlement agreement, 1214 Johnson Avenue, Truist Bank. Number 7, special event application, Blues and Blues Music Festival, Washington County Chamber of Commerce. Number 8, special event application, community Easter egg hunt. Number 9, resolution number 26-22, fiscal year 2025-2026, budget amendment number 1. And number 10, continuing engineering services work authorization number 2026-01, Pecan Street resurfacing project, David H. Melvin Incorporated. Do I have a motion to accept all 10?
Move number 4 out for discussion, please.
Okay,
I just have a question on number 2.
all right. So we will move number 4 from request for a variance to number 7 under the agenda item. I had a motion to remove number 4 out. And do I have a second? I'll second. Move second, call for discussion. There was a call for discussion on number 2.
Just a question on number 2, the March 20th, 26th thing I saw. Is that a completion for the whole project or just phase 2?
Yes, sir. So that'll be the completion for the whole project.
All of it?
Yes. So just really quickly, this is adding an additional 20 days. They've been working this week on pouring the back slab. Long story short is that's a special type of concrete that they had to use. They had to have temperatures that were above 50 degrees, and that's everything's been held up based on that.
Yeah.
So, but they are moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Any other discussion? Great news. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We will move to the, agenda item D. Agenda item, we will go to the first one, which is ordinance number 997. Waste management contract amendment and renewal.
Mayor and council, it's time for the renewal for our waste management contract. And this will approve the first reading of ordinance number 997, amending, renewing, and extending the non-exclusive franchise for the collection and disposal of residential and commercial solid waste collection to Waste Management, Inc. of Florida for a period of 5 years. Section 2 CPI adjustment will be amended as follows. All rates shall be adjusted according to the CPI, water, sewer, and trash for the preceding 12 months. The annual CPI adjustment shall not exceed 5%, and it shall not be less than 2%. Section 9B6, community cleanup, will be deleted and replaced with the following. Contractor shall provide 4 30-yard roll-off containers twice per year for the city's community cleanup program. What we are asking the council to approve is, instead of doing 1 annual amnesty day, to do 2. And if that's acceptable, then that would be what the changes, some of the changes to the agreement are. And we would do like a spring and fall cleanup. The contractor shall provide 4 30-yard roll-off containers twice per year for the city's community cleanup program. 2 containers shall be provided at no cost to the city, and the city shall pay contractor for the remaining 2 containers. Each cleanup event shall last 1 month. Containers shall be placed at a time and location within the city limits as mutually determined by the city and contractor.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Call for discussion, any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to agenda item number 2, which is request for a development order and a variance.
Mayor and council, item number 2 is a request for a development order and a variance for the corner of Watts Avenue and 7th Street for Serene Life Beer Garden. We actually, I believe, have the developer and owner here present to speak on this, Mr. Thompson, and would you like to speak?
If you would state your name, you need to come together, your name and address for the record.
I'm Emily Sparks. Address is 4731 Whitewater Lane, Crestview.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council, for letting us speak today. I'm here to introduce Serene Life Beer Garden, a locally focused business designed to provide Chipley with a relaxed, family and pet-friendly gathering space that celebrates community, responsible enjoyment, and local culture. I'm originally from this area and graduated from Holmes County High School. My parents still live in Bonifay, my brother lives here in Chipley, and my cousin Adam Treadwell owns Baby Wiggly that is next to our property. This community has always been home to my family, and the personal connection is a big part of why this project matters to Anthony and I. Our vision is to create a welcoming outdoor environment where residents and visitors can enjoy local art, live music, and community events with a focus on non-alcoholic beverage options. We believe this concept aligns with Chipley's values, fostering connection, supporting local business, and contributing positively to the city's economy. Because our family is rooted here, Anthony and I are deeply committed to being a good neighbor and operating responsibly in a way that reflects the character and needs of our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
As mentioned, Anthony Thompson, 4231 Whitewater Lane, Crestview, Florida as well. I'm originally from Pensacola, so not that far from here. My family still in Pensacola. Our goal is obviously to move closer here to Chipley and support it. The way that I'm probably got into this endeavor. We left, well, I left Pensacola and joined the military, Tennessee, in different areas, but I always enjoyed like the outdoor space. And it is something that's possible, that can be done and managed, in a responsible way. So the last time we were here, we know that some of the concerns by, residences or businesses nearby had to do with like parking. And the good thing about that, we understand that parking can be challenging. But that's why our intention is bring parking, an additional 15 locations. Not only to support us, but we realize when people come downtown, they may stop in at Serene Life Beer Garden. However, they may go mosey over to 1901 or another boutique. So in reality, that issue, I think it can be managed. We understand also that the noise levels may be a concern for some of the neighbors. And that's something that, honestly, the city already have codes in place. So you can trust that we will comply with the ordinances that's in place, and we will enforce, what you guys already have in place. And I think I took note of something else that may be a concern. Oh, and also operating within reasonable hours. This is not going to be a late night, party all night type of high impact venue. It's family friendly. Our focus is creating events. Like, that's the reason why you're there. You're not there to drink. You're there to engage, to talk. So that's really in essence our desire. And we understand, certain ones may not like it, which I can understand that. It's something new. It's out of fear. You don't know what it will look like, how it will impact you. But that's something that we're willing to reveal and work with, residences and businesses around us. So,
What would be the cutoff hour?
10 o'clock, that's the latest, but obviously with us being downtown, that's kind of pushing it. Most people probably call it like around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, to be honest with you, when I'm down there.
One thing that our current curfew, if you want to call it that, is midnight, correct? It's midnight, our cutoff.
Not for-
11 o'clock.
Not for teenagers, no.
Just in general. We have a curfew.
In general, it's
Friday, Saturday is 11, the rest of the week's 10.
Okay. Because that was my only concern on this one. You're real close at 10, and our curfew is at 11. And we can't hold you too close at 10, and everybody else is not upset for 11. That's not right.
Yes.
And that's for juveniles.
Right. Well, I'm
That's
saying
only
if
for
it's a
juveniles, yes.
non-alcoholic space, you're gonna have juveniles there.
But you're going to sell alcohol, aren't you?
Our focus is non-alcoholic. This is the reason why it's kind of twofold. One, by creating a non-alcohol environment, it makes people focus on the events, the activities. You want to go drink? I'm not anti-drinking, anti-alcohol. I'm pro-connection. That's what we're trying to create. So that's our focus. Obviously, with non-alcoholic, you can have up to 0.05%. So technically, there is, a smidge of alcohol, but not enough to cause some error.
What the variance is for alcohol. Yeah.
I think according to your code, technically, non-alcoholic beer falls within that same umbrella. Yes.
And this is actually on the agenda for approval or disapproval of the development as well as the variance.
Is that all in one?
It's all, yes.
On the
According to the sheet here.
On the Watts Avenue side, is that going to be completely fenced off where it's not an entryway off of Watts, they can only get in through 7th Street?
Correct.
One entrance, one out?
Yes. So the whole perimeter will be fenced.
I guess my biggest concern is drainage, because there's nothing against it, I love the concept of that, I'm just concerned with the idea that every grass lot has to be developed. And I worked at Piggly Wiggly for years, and I remember working there, that was always a holding pond when it rained a lot. So my concern is, do you have to build that up? Because I think I saw given there's going to be some build up, obviously on the project to construct. what is that gonna cause to the neighboring properties across 7th Street, the Big Wiggly parking lot, to Miss Harold's parking lot? Is all the water gonna be forced into her drainage area? Because there's no, any retention pond or any kind of.
I think in the front, yes,
They are required to have retention, and that is included on the plans.
On the backside.
correct.
Yes. I believe it's on the east side.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Any other questions or concerns from the council?
Well, I have the same concern. Currently, it sits in a bowl shape, you know, and the lady behind that, Miss Cooper's house there, has sandbags there. And a quarter inch of rain will flood that road already.
Yeah, we've actually, to be honest, I have videos where we've done like studies and, you know, like how the water flowing, what's causing it to go into the property. Part of it is obviously, it's on the other side of Ross Avenue, the commercial, you know, it's built up, so obviously it comes towards our property, right? But that front drainage line, I guess, maybe that falls within the city. It's like, but it's clogged up, it's, you know, so technically, so much water that's coming to our property that it's not allowing it to flow freely. So the intentions would be to, obviously, I think we address that, and then with our design, we're putting in place, honestly, you know, rocks to prevent, you know, water slowing it down at least from going anywhere. But right now, it seems like a lot of our land is being occupied by the water. So we plan on having obviously like raised platforms too, in regards to like the lounge area and all that, which allows the water to drain off within 2 days. If it's that bad, but we can.
You've got a drainage problem already. There's already a drainage problem.
Yo, and
And you're adding impervious surface.
but not the whole land is gonna
No,
be,
but-
yeah. I mean, I get what
You
you're saying.
have this, you still have to build it up. But you'll have a drainage pond.
That's what I'm saying. yes.
Right, but if you've got this you've got Watts Avenue and then it's down here, and then they build it up here, where's that water gonna go?
No, we're not gonna build it up, I mean, from the engineer standpoint, it's not gonna be built up completely where we're forcing water to other properties. That's not,
You're still gonna go on Watts and, you know, and Watts is not a wide enough avenue for 2 vehicles. And you've got 15 parking spaces for 60 people max. That's a problem. And it's like Kevin said, you know, it's a wonderful idea, but I just don't think the area is right.
Long term though, the house that sits in front of it, would you be, and you may not want to talk about this, you'd have to say no. I'm concerned with the person that lives that has the house right in front of the property.
Suzanne.
Right, so if she goes to sell that property, how hard is it gonna be for her to sell her property when people see that she's got a beer garden sitting right at her back door? So from a real estate standpoint, are we setting her up for failure to be able to sell a house later on? I know that's down the road and you
Yeah.
can what if it to death if you wanted to, but I'm just looking at all the bases, if that would be something you would eventually acquire possibly.
yeah, I mean, most likely I would, but even with the design of the space, it's gonna be, from an eye standpoint, it's, you know, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna be anything that'll deter a future homeowner. But obviously, I've spoken to her, if she ever decides to sell, I'll be glad to buy it, you know.
And the only other concern, I mean, we've had several pieces of property turned to neighborhood commercial, one of which was supposed to have been a funeral home, and then as soon as he got the approval, he didn't build a funeral home, and now everybody's worried what's gonna go in your next. So if yours fails, then we have a commercial piece of property with an alcoholic beverage variance approved. So a bar could move in there, so I think that's a concern to the residents.
You said, if, so what if it fails?
Yes, and somebody else turns it into a,
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't foresee that, you know, I mean, just,
I don't think anybody does.
But now, is this if we get the variance, it can be stipulated that it's only for.
Well, the variance is specific to this development.
Okay. So I wanna
That
make
shouldn't be an
sure.
issue.
They have to
I wanna
come
make
back
sure.
with another variance.
A new developer or new owner would have to come back and specifically request. We're not changing any zoning for it, so that is, I understand what you're saying, Ms.
I wanna
McCall,
make
could
sure
become an
that
issue.
Everybody understands that. Okay. Because I think you had 3 property owners around that spoke against it. And I don't know if you want to speak tonight, any that are here.
Well, if there's anyone, thank you, sir, for that, if you'll stand close by, but you may have to come up to answer some questions. For those who want to speak in regards to this development, 3 minutes. If you will come to the podium and state your name and address, and we'll go from there. Anyone?
Monica River, 655th Street, and I'm also talking about 782 Main Street. I'm here on behalf of myself and my family, especially my daughter and granddaughter, who lives across the street from the said Serene Beer Garden location. I am enjoying watching the growth happening in this small town, along with the participation of community events. Chipley's a quiet and quaint town with lots of potential, and I'm all for businesses coming into town to put down roots and help us continue the development. With that being said, there were some questions from the video that I watched, or planning and zoning, and parking spaces was an issue. Parking spaces have always been an issue, and I'm well aware that the city is working on developing parking places for us since our community is growing. I live in the middle of town, and one of the questions I brought up to the 2 previous businesses that were selling beer and going to have music was the noise ordinance. I'm an early to bed, early to rise, and I live right in the middle of town. Both businesses told me that this would not be a concern, especially the one that has the outside music. Both kept their promise. I'm not sure where the people leaving the beer garden. Apparently now it's been told that they're going out the other way, not coming in from 77, which is a problem. Okay, 77 and 90 is extremely congested now, and coming out of there would cause problems. I'm not sure the number of employees, but as Ms. McCall mentioned from the video that I watched, it seemed like there was more employees and potential customers than there were parking spaces. And I know that on the north side of Piggly Wiggly, that is usually used by the Corp in 1901 from Thursday to Saturday night, and on Thursday night lights days. I'm just worried about that as well, liability. I'm against having an open serene garden near a residential area. And as I said, my house is directly across from the old Blackburn house. I do not remember the number of the house, so I'm sorry. I have a neighbor to the north of me, and I'm concerned about the noise level. They just stated that there would not be any noise after 10 or 11. I'm not sure if the noise is outside or if it's going to be an enclosed building. And I'm not quite sure. I guess we can have a beer establishment or a place of entertainment every block, like Dollar General. So with those, I also wondered if it's to help a neighbor with extenuating circumstances. Is that for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Does the parking that is along Church Avenue, is that city parking or is that?
It's city
Strictly
parking.
city, parking lot itself.
The next person?
John Cavalli, 746 3rd Street. I was here during the zoning meeting as well, and I'm just going to repeat the same thing that I did then. I'm not against new business. I mean, I'm an ex-businessman myself, My problem is the location. My great niece literally lives right across from it, and she deserves a neighborhood like I had. I used to walk down to the Vance Theater, spend time at the Piggly Wiggly, Dashinger's drugstore. I walked to Rolette. I walked to Chipley High School, and it was a very safe place, and that's all I want. We already have 1901 Chipley Station within blocks of this, and one more business of that kind of nature together, to me, just means a lot of congestion, a lot of problems could arise, a lot of traffic. And I just want to prioritize the safety of our residents and our children over commercial expansion in the residential section. I just would hate for an incident to happen before we say, oh, maybe that location is not suitable. Thank you.
Would there be anyone else?
Thomas Simmons, 1237 Church Avenue. And I come to say this from a businessman to another businessman. I know it's hard for you to start something that you have a lot of people against. I can understand if they have never been outside the box to understand what's coming. Because as they saying that they scared that it's something won't happen with your establishment, but as I was told the first night that the station had there, it was an incident that went on. So we don't know what it can be. We got to open our mind up to see what it can be. He's trying to give y'all something outside of Chipley, and we still thinking that we can do it like we done it when we was younger. We are growing, and things are going to come here, and it's going to be with you or be without you. So we got to accept it and give this a chance. I think this can be great. We talked about the water issue and the parking issue. Before he moved there, the issue was from the business that's there. It runs right in front of the Rashida house from the business. It was built, they got a point, and it still holds there. So it is not really his fault. It's the business that was built the fault. You can be mad at me, but it's the truth. I stay in the neighborhood. I see the water come in. You know, we all saying, no, give this a chance. We don't know how this can go. Give it a chance. All of y'all give it a chance. Don't just say, no, I don't want it. I have seen this time and time on this panel. It's the no's come from this side and the yes come from this side. Give it a chance. Stop saying no to everything that comes up that can be beneficial to Chipley. Done.
I'll make a remark to that. One, it's not a matter of, the last time that I looked, every variance, every development order that has come across this table since I've been on this council has been approved. Nothing has been turned down. It's all been approved. You have different people that vote yes or no, but ultimately it's approved. So the end game is it was approved. My concern is, just because you have grass doesn't mean it has to be developed. I'm not even talking about his particular property. It's in general. There's a lot of places that have been built up in Chipley that have caused the flooding issues because things were built in areas that shouldn't have been built. There should have been retention ponds put there. I love the idea. I'm just questioning the location of it. Because you've got, the parking is an issue. Where are they going to park? You can say they'll park at Piggly Wiggly, and I'm not saying I'm against it at all. My concern is the public is going to park where the public wants to park. If you don't believe that, go down Railroad Avenue on any given night and look at the cars that are parked on the railroad track. All the way down. That is not public parking, but they're parked there because there's no parking. All it's going to take is a train to come through at CSX to say we're not doing this anymore, and they can run a fence right down the middle of Railroad Avenue. because the railroad owns it all the way to the so we have to think about the concept of parking from a safety issue. I love the idea, I have no problem with that, but at the same time, we've got to look at it from a standpoint of a planning standpoint. You can't look at the here and now, what's gonna happen 10 years from now. People don't like to plan long term, but you have to. To my knowledge, we don't have any stipulations of saying what can and what can't come somewhere. There is not a neighborhood in Chipley right now with the way we do things that is safe from commercial development. Not one neighborhood in Chipley.
Did the zoning board approve this?
Yes.
Well, but it was after this, much discussion. But they approved it. They approved it, and there was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of discussion, and the chairman approved it with reluctance, was his quote. But my problem, I'm like Kevin, I like the idea. But the same thing when you go through Lynn Haven, people complain about the traffic in Lynn Haven, and then the residents complain about the drainage. Well, they built on every piece of property you can build on in Lynn Haven. You don't have trees anymore from a hurricane, so they've got a problem with drainage as well. And I can't, that's my problem with this. It's in a bowl, it's in an area that already drains, and I just don't think it's the right place for it.
What, can I ask you a question? What made you pick this particular site? What was the reason for this location?
Well, I traveled around, I spent a lot of time just looking around, and then when I came across it, to me it made sense. And that's why before even doing anything, it's like, you know, you do your research, you do your due diligence, talk to, you know, the engineer, and, you know, that gave them to come out, check things out, and they checked it out, and, you know, came up with plans to deal with any drainage issue. I'm not a contractor, I'm not an engineer, but they've done the work for us to make sure that that's not an issue. You know, if that's the issue, unfortunately, you know, I'm not an engineer to be able to fully explain it, but they've done it, and they already have that solved where that's not going to be an issue. And that is, obviously, that's something that's going to fall on the business owner. You're going to get fined, you're going to face consequences. I get that. But that's why I wanted to make sure before making that decision. But anyway, just spending time downtown, and then stumbled across it was a blessing, to be honest with you.
Now, you currently live in Crestview, but you're looking to relocate.
Correct.
So you would be present at the site.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is
That was another one of my major.
This will be hands-on. You'll see this probably on a regular basis, you know, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll be there. You'll see me. Trust me. Yes, sir. This is not something I operate out of town. It's pretty dear to me, so.
Thank you. I will address the parking, in the future, for parking for City of Chipley. I know that, we can address that railroad parking there. I think it was addressed years ago, and we removed that for whatever reason to prevent from issues from happening there. But as we have torn down the old fire station to find funding to be able to make that be more parking available to the businesses. There's also parking over closer to the church there in that same area. You got Colonial, Old Colonial, and you've got city parking. There's city parking somewhat around the downtown area. I think the more question is we're more so always wanting to park closest to the establishments that we're going into. So to say that there's no parking when you go to events, I know for myself in other bigger cities, you have to park a distance and walk to that establishment, and we just haven't been in training or in that mindset here in rural to do that. So we're doing everything we can to provide additional parking space where it makes sense to keep our citizens safe, to be able to maneuver and go where they need to go. But I think we have addressed that is an issue that I lack, and we're trying to do everything we can to solve that. But I think to have that type of problem kind of speaks to two things. Hopefully we'll change our attitude about parking closer and maybe find a park and then walk in and allow us to do other things and maybe see other establishments. But that our city is growing in a positive way where we have more businesses that are within the buildings that exist there. And we're that kind of walkable downtown that we kind of dreamed about having.
Urban things.
Yeah, it is growing pains, and so, we're learning every day, how to work out some of those situations. So, if there's not, I don't wanna take away from anyone in the audience, is there anyone else that would like to share anything before we close this discussion? Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, my name is Chris Edwards, I live at 750 Orange Street. Like this gentleman here, I served in the military about 25 years. I literally lived in 4 different continents. I can't tell you how many countries I've visited. And this is one of the few places I've been where we don't have anything downtown, where we have a variety of places, whether it's food industry, whether it's brewery, etc. Right now, when I have friends come visit me from other cities, other countries, they're in town, we have to go to Panama City, go to Dothan, go somewhere else. We're taking revenue away from Chipley. These are things that we need here. We need the businesses to come here. In regards to parking and the things that, there are great concerns, but these are good problems to have, right? So if you do have people that are willing to come downtown and parking is concerned, then being transparent, but that's a problem that you guys need to work with these businesses to solve, right? Another thing I mentioned, I'll be quiet, I went to visit a friend, and they had a similar situation where you got a bunch of businesses open during the day, but they also had night businesses. They work with the community and all businesses and say, hey, look, you guys close shop at 5. Why have these parking spaces empty? Why not allow these businesses to come here and use them? So I fully support this young man, any other person that comes in. Was Chipley Station, I can sit in my front yard and listen to their concert. But it doesn't bother me, right? Because people are enjoying themselves. Let's allow people to enjoy themselves. Let's bring businesses here, right? Let's grow Chipley. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're good for discussion. Very good. Do I have, Lisa?
On the ordinance for the, I guess for what, pipe alcohol, is it possible for that to be upgraded without, or would it have to go through the process again, or how does that work? What do you mean upgraded?
He's saying he wants to serve alcohol. If he wants to serve something stronger than light alcohol, does it have to come back before us, or can he serve it?
The variance covers him being within the 500-foot of a residence, so if it is approved, non-alcoholic beer that he is wanting to sell it does have alcohol in it, so he will be allowed to sell other alcohol.
No further questions? Do I have a motion on agenda item number 2?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance and the land development order.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved in second, call for discussion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Let's do a roll call vote, please, just to make sure. Mr. Blunt?
Aye.
Ms. Mahal?
No.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Motion carries. Yeah, motion carries. Number 3, quote for police.
Mayor and council, this is something that I have thought long and hard about over the weekend and felt the need to request the city council to approve the purchase of a police vehicle. I know that over the last year and a half, we have been in multiple discussions with the city council and in council meetings about the shape that our police fleet is in. And each time we've discussed that we are in good shape, but that was with the understanding that last year we would get approved for legislative appropriations, which would purchase 4 new vehicles to replace older vehicles, And then it did not get approved last year, so we now have approved again this year for those same legislative appropriations to purchase 4 new vehicles for the police department. That could be, you know, if the legislature approves it, then as what happened with the fire truck, it was August or September before we actually got an agreement for the city council to approve. With that being said, it could be August or September before, if we get funded, before we have the money to actually order vehicles, and then I do not know how long it will take to get those vehicles in hand. We currently have added 1 new police officer. We are in the process of hiring a 2nd new police officer. With those 2 new positions, it was due to the COPS grant that we were awarded, there came other expenses, and we were hoping that the legislative appropriations would have accounted for those vehicles. We have just gotten to the point where we are utilizing every vehicle, including spare vehicles that we have. And when one breaks down, we're in a difficult situation. We do have a vehicle that was in a wreck over the weekend. We do not know what the status of that vehicle is at this time, but whether it is replaced because it's totaled or just repaired, I still feel the need to request the additional vehicle that I'm requesting tonight for the police department. Chief was able to reach out and get a quote on a vehicle that is on the lot in Jacksonville, which is usually where we order our vehicles from, and it is $46,317. If the council approves it, we would have the vehicle within a week here in the city, and then it would take approximately a week to get the equipment installed into it, and it would be in service within 2 weeks. The only reason we would be able to accomplish that is because we are able to remove the equipment off of the vehicle that was in the accident in order to utilize it for another vehicle. So whatever happens with the wrecked vehicle, we would then address getting equipment for that vehicle, whether it be repaired or be replaced. I really feel like this is a necessity, this vehicle is, because like I said, we are utilizing every vehicle that we have, and some of them are older vehicles. Chief can speak to how old our fleet is, if you would like for him to just give you a reminder of how old a few of our vehicles are. And I say they may not be that old to some people, but because of the hours that are put on them, they are very old.
We understand the need. We're very hopeful that the corporation.
Yes, we are.
The 4 additional ones, but, yes, sir.
So, you were on me quite a bit about Castro's car for a while, and we got it out of service. But it's been back in service because we've added positions. So that's one's been in and out of the shop quite a bit. We actually just got that vehicle back out of the shop yesterday. It's a 2018 Charger.
That's the first Charger we got.
It's not, actually. I've got the list here. We've got several. The newest officer we had, Hartwell, is in the 2016 Charger. That vehicle just came back from the shop last week while he was driving the 2014 spare car to the shop to pick up his 2016 that overheated. And we had to have it taken to the shop and repaired. That vehicle is back at our police department, and we have discovered a leak underneath it, so it's going back to the shop again. The 2019 Charger that we have is undergoing some major engine work right now at the shop.
And we've not purchased any more Chargers because of all the problems we had, right?
Correct.
Everything's going to police centers,
Correct.
right?
Correct. And we have a 2014 Impala
which is what Officer Gill will be driving while he's without his vehicle. So we've got several vehicles that are 12 years old now that are going to be full-time in-service vehicles. And they're just rotating in and out of the shop.
And it's like somebody having to rotate their desk out every week and they work.
Well, and the biggest problem is them trying to get to somebody to help them, and then the car breaks down. That's the biggest potential issue that we have. The 22, we've got two 22 model Interceptors, the Explorers. They're now 4 years old. I've already knocked on wood several times today. They're doing fantastic for us. We've not had any issues out of them. They're the oldest Explorers that we currently have in service. And all the vehicles we've purchased since then have been Explorers.
All thing I would say is, Patty, I talked about this earlier today. What we've done as a city is we've sat around and patched and patched and patched and patched until now everything that's been patched is falling apart. So I don't have a problem if we need a car to get the car, but I want something put in place, some kind of schedule put in place to where we're on a rotation, to where we look and make sure that these cars are sold out and new ones brought in, and let's not wait until we've got 6 cars or 7 cars that need to be replaced, and when we're stuck, there's no help. This should have been a problem that was fixed years ago, and it just needs to be, the car needs to be replaced. When they reach a certain level, they roll off and we get a new one to replace it with. And that way he's not stuck in the position he's in right now with more men, which I haven't seen since I've been on council, more men in the cars.
We definitely are in better shape today than we were 2 years ago, but we still have a little ways to go. And so that's where we're at now.
But I think he's asking for a plan.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing.
If you can ever get them up where you can get them on a
Correct,
rotation
correct,
basis.
correct. That's
This
right.
be the start. If we do this, this car starts that rotation process, getting things lined up. And not just his department, Public Works, all those departments, and not waiting until it's broke down completely before we start buying the vehicles.
So we all received, it's been a while, a listing of our vehicles for every department, so we kind of have an idea of the year and all of that, when they were acquired and everything, so, sounds like, do I have a motion to approve,
So moved.
Move second, any further discussion? Not all in favor by saying aye? Aye. Any opposed, none, thanks, sir.
Mayor,
Yes.
because this was a quick turnaround time to try and get it approved, we will actually bring the loan proposal documents next month to the council for approval.
Very good. We kind of already know the amount, it's in that range, so very good. Number 4, request for executive session, Attorney Jordan.
I would like to ask y'all to come at 4 o'clock before next month's meeting. It's not urgent. And get an update to the council.
Next month? Next month.
March
Maybe
10th
March 10th.
at 4 p.m.
Okay. Agenda item number 5. We've got 3 discussion points, from you, but if we can, we'll go to the animal control one instead, and then we'll go to Cheryl's number 4.
I apologize, I have to get out.
Mary's.
Should be big enough.
That's how I said it. I had that in the study.
Yeah, I did too, but since we're moving out of order.
We don't have to have any in-depth discussion on this tonight. I'm just trying to get this back before y'all.
Is this something you want us to review, or you wanna go to?
Yeah, so we need to review, there were, so last May, I proposed changes to our animal intersections with red lines. So, Patty and Guy and I met, and we went over kind of real life issues that, Guy Gilsford and, candidates that he would recommend based on those experiences. So you'll see that, again, the red line highlighted, in that version. And then there was discussion about cats and specific regulations about cats. And I looked in multiple other jurisdictions. I was really surprised at all the things that I found regulating cats. Feral cats, stray cats, cat colonies. The only thing that we addressed, or that's in the proposal from last year, was not feeding strays on public property. So I'm gonna ask you to take these home with you, look through them, and give me some feedback next month about how much do you want to regulate cats. So you'll see, proposed regulations about cats. I've got some suggested areas, that we can deal with. Mirroring registration of cats, microchipping of cats, sterilization of cats, TNR programs, which is trap, neuter, and release, cat colonies. I just think, like I said, there was actually quite a bit of discussion about cats at that meeting, so.
We probably got all of them, colonies, congregation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we got some calls.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing us something to review.
So we'll just kind of have that on the agenda next month for more detailed discussion, just as we're back to.
Do you want us to, like, after we review this, do you want us just to email you our comments and you've got them?
So we need to have that discussion in public.
Thank you. Let's go, okay, we'll move to the next one, which is, it's not next to the last, but it was, on the consent agenda item, we pulled the request for a variance for discussion.
This property is in Martin's Wood, which is the subdivision out south of, southeast of town. And they have 5 variances already in there. And the problem I have with it, they have May 2025 and June 2025, they had plans that were correct. And then lo and behold, in January, they pulled them in 10 feet. And the reason being was that they wanted to keep some trees, and I went out there and looked at it, it sure looks like to me that they're just trying to get the driveway big enough, long enough that they can put cars. And I just think it's, Kevin said, why do we have variances if we keep, why do we have them if we keep approving them? And this is another one in this area, just seems to have a lot of variances out there.
I have a question on that too, Mayor. I talked to Patty about that. Some of the confusion, I think, with anybody building in Chipley is they go to the county, and the county has one setback requirement, and then they come to us, and we have a separate setback requirement. So in many of these cases, I don't think they're purposely trying to mess up the setback. They're just confused because nobody's throwing the same footage. So when I looked into what the county is, if I'm not mistaken, the county is 25 feet. Now, we're 30 feet. Can we not just put an ordinance in place to match the counties and solve all these issues?
We're actually, that's one of the things that we were going to work with our planner on is revamping the codes that are specific to the planning codes. And so at the point we do that, I feel like that definitely can be something that we can discuss with them to see if that is something they would recommend.
I just thought it would hurt my builders because they're trying to build, but they're being told two different numbers. If I moved into here, I would think the county and the city would be the same, it's all in the same area. But ours is 5 foot difference between the two.
Yeah, but in this case, they've got it right in 2 sets of plans, but not the last one. And that's what bothers me, because we have kind of a bad reputation that we just approve anything that comes through here, when it comes to variances, and I think that there are some cases it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Well, and as I stated in the P and Z meeting, I believe, is that we do not know who approved this. When I was originally, when the city hall was approached by the owner, I was told that our planning department approved it, of which we had no knowledge of. So I believe there was just some confusion between the county building department and the city and the builder, and somehow it got approved, and
We've had staffing changes at the county.
yes, and so we have addressed that with the county and explained to them what our requirements are, and that moving forward, they cannot just approve setbacks unless we know what they're approving. And it states that in our iWork system, whenever Tamara does a development order or an approval of a land use compliance, anything, she will put notes in the system, which then goes to the county building department, and it will state in there what the setbacks are in the notes, so that hopefully that will alleviate some of the issue. I can't promise you it's going to completely cure it, but definitely to try and put something in place to, in the future, hopefully resolve that issue.
That's why I wanted to bring that, you see the problems.
How often do you have this type of a situation come up where we're told one thing at one entity and another entity tells us different? Is it regular, like every couple of months, every 6 months? I mean, not blaming any one person, just how often does this often happen?
I wouldn't say,
We had 5 years, just one subject.
yeah, on our end though, I wouldn't say that that happens for us regularly. It does happen, but not regularly, yes.
Is this a new home that has been built by the contractor, and now he's wanting the owner to take over, and the owner wants something else done?
No, sir. I mean, no, ma'am.
We're gonna be able to beach Florida, so it's a preliminary set of plans at the beginning, and then we make the final changes in the field, and we're gonna form up. Then we did get approval from the county before we poured the concrete on it, we got it verified.
But you didn't know it was a city property?
That's what it, yeah,
You didn't know that?
no, we won't,
You didn't bother
we thought the county,
find out.
yeah, the county approved the work.
The confusion is because the county does our inspecting, so they do permitting and inspecting.
But the county needs to tell them when it's in the city, and they need to contact the city.
Well, they would have known it was in the city because they would have had to go through Tamara to get a land use compliance. Or, well, the initial land use compliance was issued by the city. So when the second set of plans, as Ms. McCall brought up, when the second set, I think there's some confusion as to how it works, because yes, it is a city property. They came to the city and they got their land use compliance approved through the city, and then we submit it to the county. So when the builder is out there building, there's some confusion since the county is the ones that's out there doing the inspecting and they're the ones who do the permitting. There's a little bit of confusion, I believe, on, okay, so I've already gotten my approval from the county to build the home, so the inspector is the one that approves it from this point forward. I think there could be some confusion there. I'm not the building inspector and I'm not the builder, so I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we have seen that happen before, and that's the only explanation. Yes, that's the only explanation that we have been able to come to, is that there's just confusion. So we are trying to put things in place that will hopefully prevent that moving forward. More communication with the county, obviously, that will help tremendously, because there have been staffing changes. So we're just doing whatever we can to try and help the process.
So what's gonna keep them from transferring it to the owner?
If it's not approved, then they cannot. The variance has to be approved or they cannot.
Why? It's already built.
But they do it in, but they didn't think they did it.
Yeah.
My concern is that it's obvious that it's a governmental issue. It's not the person building the home. It's a communication gap between
Yes.
those who issue the permission. So I have a problem punishing the homeowner when it's obviously
Well, I do too.
No,
Well, we were
no,
told,
no.
we were told in the planning and zoning that it was to save some trees, but it didn't look like it.
I do
saved
remember
trees.
that being said.
But I'm like Cheryl, this has happened so many times out there in Walton Woods.
Maybe you want to establish a conversation and meet with them about, I don't know how they may be built out there, I'm not for sure.
They gotta be getting close.
They're close.
There's nowhere for them to build another house.
This has been going on since not many years after, I mean, actually probably about the time I started here. So this has been going on for many, many, many years.
Well, I will move approval with the stipulation that there be things put in place, steps put in place to prevent this from happening again.
I'll second it.
Move second, any further discussion?
I would just say, if we have an interlocal with the county about this process, I've never seen it. So, if we've got one, it's time to update it. If you don't have one, this has to go in place. The interlocal would very clearly delineate which entity is responsible for what and when.
If there's no changes made, then during the process, then everything is handled by the county. But in this case, and it does happen with that development, it has happened multiple times, then you do run into the issue of, yes, they've gotten what they need from the city, but now they've made changes, so they're supposed to come back to the city. We also are putting in place more communication between our offices and the developer to make sure that that developer knows moving forward, you have gotten this approval today, but any changes that are made moving forward have to come back through our office, not just the county. So there's many things that we're trying to make sure that we do to make the process better and more understandable. But yes, definitely, if Attorney Jordan thinks that an interlocal agreement would help, then absolutely, yes. Mhm.
So,
I'll amend that motion to include the discussion of their local agreement with county officials, with our officials.
someone seconded, was Mr. Hall seconded, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, here none, motion carried.
I'll give it to the county attorney.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Last,
And I believe the reason, just to make a comment about this, the reason that that has been not a conversation brought to the forefront is because, you know, yes, they get permitting fees, but the city does not currently pay the county a penny to do anything that has to do with building or permitting. So they do make permitting fees, but the city does not pay them anything. So,
final agenda item, number 7, I think there's 3 points
Yeah,
there.
just three quick things. One, this time last year, there was discussion, Ms. Jordan, this is going to be with you, about background checks for our rec department. It was brought up that they need to be more detailed or more stringent, or I just know that conversation coming up, and I don't remember that coming back to the table. So are we anywhere with that?
No, I wanted to meet with the, rec board. That's that tracking call. So, the issue that we had come up last year was a volunteer had passed a background check prior to the season starting and then discharged as the season progressed and did not disclose the charges to us. So that was kind of the issue that we had, and that nothing in our documentation required a volunteer to disclose their charges after they had passed that, so we needed to update that, but then we had another incident with, we had some changes to our, I forget what the name of the system is, that they use now,
The registration
our
part.
old paperwork had a release for, photographing children, and then we switched to an online.
The
registration
new online
system.
thing, registration.
Right.
But then we did, we had some complaints, and whatever this last
about
one was.
photos, yes, you were
About
taken.
photographing children, so we need to update that as well.
I believe that was supposed to have been taken care of, and I'll follow up with Brock on that.
So it's a little bit harder for me to get access to that system and also make sure that our internal rules are compliant with. But I really wanted to talk to the rec board about,
So is that something that we can get with Brock and call a meeting with the rec board to meet with her before this time next month?
Well, and that was something that Michelle was leading at, when she had time to do it. So that's why we haven't done that yet, is just at her convenience.
I'm not in any rush, and we're not gonna get anything done before the next, $2 off all.
Right.
I don't even have things for that for you.
We need to have.
We, just as needed.
Within the quarter.
Do it this after.
Generally, second, fourth Monday.
So you just need to get.
I'll work with Attorney Jordan to come up, we'll work together and come up with a date.
That's not, that's been almost a year, close to a year. Second point, and the mayor brought that up earlier, with the parking area. I've had 3 individuals ask me in the last month, talked to Patty about this today, about the downtown improvement plan that we created, and then nothing else has been said about it. What are we doing, where are we going? We talked last time I said email, was about talking about how many trees we're gonna put in, but nothing has been advertised or talked about since then. So they said it's dead in the water, like they always are, was the comment that I got. So I just wanted to kind of get an update of where we are. I know we're going after a beautification.
We have,
grant.
we have.
But just kind of, if we can add that as a public knowledge type thing on the social media
Sure.
pages, to know that we are still actively.
Well, we're crossing our fingers that we get funded, and that would start our downtown beautification. So that would be a good start, and then we would be able to make a plan from there on maybe what else we could apply for, or what else we could go after to try and do additional phases of the project.
My concern is we took down the beauty shop and fire station, and now we have that here at the parking lot, and we've got businesses coming in back where Colonial was, and put a lot of money in the building. We got back here that we kind of need to meet with at the same time, we got him further with the parking lot.
Okay.
From Chipley Station and that, and just kind of crossing all the T's that we said we were going to address it, yeah.
Sure. Okay, so the parking lot to the west of Colonial, where we tore down the buildings, that parking lot did not get funded. However, Guy is currently working on coming up with a plan of anything that we could possibly do to make it into parking that would not cost us what it would have cost to do a regular parking lot. So whether it be milled asphalt into concrete ADA spaces, we're just trying to come up with some type of a plan that maybe we could possibly get it done, get something done. So we're kind of working on that. We're also working on a crosswalk at 5th for the new park that's going to be completed in March. And we're also working on a crosswalk on 7th Street, there at the city parking lot in Chipley Station, going over across to the farmer's market, just for safety, pedestrian safety. And then the parking lot, we did work with the engineers to come up with changes to the parking lot downtown. The person who is going to paint that for us very inexpensively is only available at certain times. Is that correct, Guy?
I should be able to get it done, pretty quickly, though.
So we're not gonna do any kind of overhaul of that parking lot, we're just gonna restripe it.
Well, it's changing the pattern, the parking pattern, based on some discussions with the engineers.
There's not gonna be major changes. I think we're gonna pick up 2 spots, maybe 3. I can't remember.
And the spaces along on the north side of the buildings will be for compact cars. And then I believe these spaces to the east of the Chipley Station will be motorcycle and compact car parking there as well. And I believe we were going to be able to possibly maybe do away with the ADA spot on the north side of the farmer's market, right there near the railroad.
ADA will be by the building.
It'll be by the building, yes. So there's a couple of spaces out in that parking that's available now, whether it be by farmer's market or in the parking lot itself or on South Railroad, that we will do away with some of those ADA spaces and we'll have it up by the building.
That's something we can advertise on social media, just to come in soon type thing.
Sure, I want to get more specifics before we do that, but yes, sir, we definitely can do that.
I like seeing the updates.
Mhm.
Follow-up
Yes.
stuff on Facebook, so
Mhm.
that's good. My next question is, because I'm going through the process right now with my own job, is the concept of evaluations and what employees get evaluations and which employees don't, who consider employees, who consider not. Back in October during budget, and this is not Red at Michelle, it's just a position that you can. We talked about the concept of evaluating the attorney, whoever, whether it be Michelle, whoever, in that position. Right now, we don't have an evaluation system in place. And when I asked for the contract for the attorney position, we don't even have a contract, we've got kind of a worksheet type thing. So is there a contract that we can see, or is there something that we've got that kind of stipulates what we're doing, what she's required of, mainly because I want to protect her just like I want to protect her. I don't want her to be required to do stuff that's not in her contract, and vice versa. And at the same time, with the evaluation standpoint, I feel like an evaluation is what you have to warrant giving you money or giving raises or an attaboy or whatever. Everybody goes through it. I'm going through it right now with my job. And I feel like there needs to be some type of evaluation system put in place, even if it's the same thing that what we do for Patty. Because technically, the five of us hire her. And she needs feedback from us on what we like, what we don't like, for her own personal use. I know I benefit from it with my job, and I can read what my principal likes and doesn't like. But right now, we don't have any of that. So I'm just concerned with how we can bridge that gap to make sure the city's protected, to make sure Michelle's protected, to make sure there's no questions of why aren't you doing this, if she's not required to do that. Or what,
If she's a contractor, but we're gonna have to do it for every consultant we have and every engineer.
that when do we hire her each year? If she's been hired, we don't go back and rehire her each year, she's just hired as a contract. Our other ones, we hire them for specific jobs.
But you don't
and that
rank
job-
them, but you don't,
You do a ranking system.
but you don't evaluate them every year.
Your evaluation comes from their finished product, and when they turn in their bid, you have what they did the last time, that's an evaluation. But they do one set project and then they're done. She's with us doing multiple projects throughout the year, all the way through. So I don't look at,
I think they're just.
no, I don't look at her.
The only other ones that I would say might, and Attorney Jordan she can correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have continuing services agreements with, at this point, just one consulting firm. And other than that, everyone else is per job. So the job may last 6 months, it may last a year, but it's one job. But we do have a continuing services. I don't know if that would apply
Yeah, but we don't
same.
rank all the other, the individual jobs, you and Guy and somebody else do that.
Well, the continuing.
Rank them to hire them.
So he's saying we can use that like evaluation as they rank them on their job, when they hire them.
I don't think what she does for us and what we do for specific jobs is apples to apples. But she would think, if you're saying we've got one that's on a continuing situation, do we do an evaluation on them?
No, we don't. We don't currently. I was saying that might apply, that might be the same type of
If
situation.
it's
I
a
don't know.
continual thing, there needs to be some kind of evaluation, or not, how do you justify continuing?
Right, so
That opened up a whole nother can of worms. So it's not just her, it's that too.
Well, that's what I was asking.
So the only question, I guess my question is, so, every agreement that is approved by the city council. So the attorneys, the attorney, when she comes in and, when she was hired, and then later when she requested rate increases, she works directly for the council. Obviously, I deal with her on a daily basis on different things, but she works directly for the council. The engineering firms that we deal with, or the administrators for, like grant administration firms, the consultants that we work with, they, we deal with them internally a lot more than what the city council does. So the city council does approve their contracts and does approve, they come in and they see them monthly or quarterly, as Mr. Melvin does, but we still deal with them out in the field or in-house pretty regularly. So I guess my question is how do you decide who evaluates? I guess, you know, at what do we, how do you figure that out?
Than we do. So, I mean, I'm not comfortable, I'd have to evaluate her for once a year.
That's what we do with her.
No, but we talk with her outside of the meetings.
Talking shit about that. I have questions with this stuff. My big thing is, I don't want, from the concept of, with the attorney or any of us position, if something came up and I looked and I said, I want Michelle fired, which I wouldn't, but I want Michelle fired. We have no background documentation from us to warrant that concept. So then you turn around and you say, well, I don't like what you do. Well, show me proof. You don't have anything. There's no evaluation system. There's no check and balance. So how do you deal with that? I'm hired on I'm an annual employee, and we have to do a mid-evaluation and a yearly evaluation every year. And we have to justify what we've done, show proof of our job and what we've done, and we're evaluating. And then
How's that? We have to monitor against other cities or counties. How's that?
Is there, do they have an MOU or a contractual agreement that comes available comes due every year to vote on?
The majority of my municipalities don't have a written agreement with me.
Okay, so I know,
I had a contract at some point.
hold on.
We never had a
I know,
contract, it was just like a letter that explained
Yeah. Like
when you
decide.
first started, for example.
Hold on, Michelle, Attorney George.
Not under your name. You never have had a contract, but your contract that was approved basically was your request for this is what you would do. Like if you would do originally a council meeting and a workshop, and your retainage was this, and it covered that plus 2 hours or whatever. Just things like that. And then over the years, whenever she was at a point and she was requesting an increase or a change in any way to her duties, then she would bring that to the council and the council would approve that. So we have that, which is what we've always utilized. I guess one of the things that I am completely up to the council how they want to handle the evaluation thing, but I guess my statement to anything in regards to what Mr. Russell said about, well, what if, I hate to even use that word, but just say you wanted to get rid of somebody, then you vote to get rid of them. I don't know that it matters what their contract said, because even if you have a contract, there's going to be terminology in that contract for a way out. So whether it's with right, so well, right, and all I was addressing was what, yeah. I'm saying with anybody, just any contractor or vendor that we utilize, if, I guess no different, I'll use me, so I don't have to point anybody else out, but I mean, I'm an employee, but if you chose to get rid of me, then you choose to get rid of me, and so does everybody else that works for the council. They work at the pleasure of the council. So if you chose to go out for bids because you didn't care for who your city administrator was, or you didn't care, or go out for whatever the case may be. I'm just trying not to pinpoint people because I don't like that. You would be able to do what the council chooses to do. So I don't know if that's so much an issue, but again, that's separate from even the fact that what you're discussing wanting to do an evaluation. So that would be definitely how
I certainly don't want to do one on her if we've got another continuing contract that we're not doing on.
So he's got
Yeah, I'd have to look at their contract. I'm not sure exactly how their contract is written.
It's just more in the position than you.
I don't know how, I don't know, and Michelle, how would that differentiate between a contractor that has a 3-year agreement in place and then 2 one-year renewals? Because that would even be like the lobbyist, for example. So, you know, but other than that, I can't think of any others. I don't know how Kinley Horn's agreement reads. I'd have to look that up.
There's a term, next to sunset or.
Mhm. There is a term. There's a
Right,
term.
we know it's the end of that form. Sure. Retired. There's no contract, there's no term.
Mhm.
I think everybody else has a contract.
Oh, they all have contracts, yes, they do.
Yeah.
They all have contracts. That term, they sunset at some point. So whether it be 3 years and then they have 2-year renewals, after that it's done.
Right.
So, and then we have to do RFPs again. That's not the case
Right,
with
no, we're-
our attorney. We've always, whatever attorney we had on staff, we kept on until the council chose to do something different or the attorney chose to leave. So that's how it's always been handled in the past.
Can we look to the lead of cities to see, you know, what, I know she says for the communities that she used, since they are one of our consulting agents, to see, if they have something in place, how other communities perhaps are doing it, maybe not in this weekly, or how they're handling it, if they have a situation where they, like you said, you may wanna do something, is there processes in place? Maybe they can give us some guidance on it, or, I hate to look up something for you, but, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, that was gonna be my suggestion, because I'm not being suspect of this.
Well, I mean, is maybe the first thing to do is do a contract? I mean, since that's what's coming up, would we want to just do a contract?
For the cities.
Well, I think that if you're gonna be
Talking about you.
implementing and evaluating the system, that would be requirement. I don't know that it would be ethical for me to.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the cities.
Right, definitely.
My
Yes.
15th anniversary is in April. I don't, negotiating a written agreement.
Yeah. There's no other current.
Right, right.
I'm doing my own evaluation, so I call Patty, and I said, I'm doing mine, who you like? That's what it started.
Can you check into that?
Yes, absolutely.
That's all my.
Jill, don't forget, Easter egg hunt, you already approved it with that. Jerry, you said here, that direction, is there any directives?
No, the fire department will be doing hot dogs, I believe the council's gonna do potato chips. I don't put that on the flyer, because I don't want people to just cash in the park and get free hot dogs and potato chips. So, I think we're gonna see ones that are actually continue their event, because you would never be able to pick everybody that came and got a hot dog. So, that's the only thing. If anybody wants to participate, we just need to let them know, and
Mayor, have you taken a look at it like you do on
I don't know, cause I mean, I've done it every year, and y'all agreed to do it every year, but, I mean, how do y'all want me to do it? Y'all want me to do it?
Can you handle it, and we just give you money to help with that?
You mean handle purchasing them and?
Yeah. Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, whatever we need to do.
But we need to make sure we pay her,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's,
remind us.
but that's my thing is, that you get a reminder, and
She don't get paid.
And I don't, so I've been doing it for a few
If you
years.
don't have something to write down.
Like I said,
I reminded it all one time.
Like I said, I go religiously to Sam's to do that, because it's a worthwhile.
I'll make sure that I remind everybody.
Thank you.
I don't even know how much they cost, because Mary Andrews
I
normally
think it
handles
comes
it.
out like $40 a piece last year.
I don't remember the amount, I just purchased it.
Okay. We'll look into it and let you
Tell me
know.
what last year was. Please.
Okay. I don't know what last year's
Receipts.
was,
I
yeah.
have my receipts in, but
We don't mind handling that, though. We'll take care of it.
I think it'd be better if you do that.
That's fine, sure.
Make sure it's not stuck with the bill.
And Mayor, if I may say one more comment about the evaluation. just to make it clear for when we do move forward with something at some point, hopefully we will get some insight from Florida League of Cities that will help us through that. But again, if you put that on me to it, like Mr. Russell was saying, to evaluate, or Ms. McCall was saying that I deal with her, with Attorney Jordan or whoever, whatever other consultant, I'm not the only one, that deals with those positions. So, she works for the council, so I don't.
I think it needs to be five of us.
Okay.
And I like the way that when we do for you, where it gives us a question and we can rate and we give comments and then give her the comments. So
Right.
she knows.
And if we do get feedback from Florida League of Cities that sends us in that direction, then we can always set up evaluations in our current system, our performance management system, that would allow for that, to where you would have access to be able to go in and do the evaluations if you needed to. So that's not a problem.
Very good. Thank you all for your patience tonight. Anything else, Attorney Jordan? We're good?
The farmer's market sign is bad.
Yes, I have a note for that. I know that you and I had discussed it to, I know you had mentioned something about remove, which we can't remove the hours of the farmer's market, because that's what I believe the grant initially was for, but we can definitely redo the sign and get a new sign up there. We'll work on that.
Very good. Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.
They got it through. They're gonna read it tomorrow, so I'm gonna be praying up tonight. So, yeah. Railroad trestle, 12-inch water main. Yeah, they got it through. In Marietta, when they're coming into Marietta and go underneath the railroad trestle, they're boring a new water line up underneath it. So they got the initial bore done, and tomorrow they'll start going back. I got a couple things for y'all. I got testing. So, first one is
Yes, I have another one here, so yes.
I figured that, so what I was going to contact to do was basically they could go ahead and put everything in, and close out the project, and then they would still work with us whenever everybody else is down there and pull the project through. Yeah, I figured that's what most people do. I figured, especially if back then, we were doing food truck film, I don't even want to we got about $5,500 left in contingency, and no, they yeah. Well, what they came back with was what we had talked about is they got all of the plastic shipped off on the walls, and then we have to put that. But I was going through and we came back with about $5,100. All the new bonding, caps, and those things they can so the main thing I'll send y'all some options is just looking at there's some that are more yellow, really bold, also with the marble, I don't know if they can do translucent stain. No. Or having more like, I'll send you some options. meant to grab a color wheel and bring it with me, so we're gonna have to look.
I wouldn't mind that tone if it was,
Keep it more brown. Lawson's and the other thing that I didn't bring up was CDBG. So, as we understand that the state is going to have another CDBG cycle that is going to come out the end of this month, yeah. And so there's a couple of options for that. The two ones that come to mind would be if they had like a, excuse me, like a commercial one, potentially, for downtown parking, we apply for that. The other one would be Orange Street, because we do have, and, yeah. Unless, and I apologize, I can't remember, was there an install? Yeah. Of course, then there's all the other ones, those are two.
I mean, water projects, but besides water projects.
Water projects. Yeah. I mean, like main replacements and stuff like that. Yeah, it kind of, I mean, the main thing is we could look at those and it sort of comes back to just like how long we've all been on heavy lifting on Orange Street. If we're doing one in an area, getting the surveys and whatnot.
God did all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so, I think.
Yeah.
Saturday.
I know it was.
Cranking it. We didn't think on that. I haven't released it yet. Last thing I had, Peach Street, police station and whatnot. I guess I didn't see, so they approved it. So there's a change order. So I'm gonna go back and double check everything. But the last, and I'll send it to you. I was looking at the two apps. Paula sent me, but I guess Fred Foxley had sent me for the lift station. Yes, and yeah, everything looked. It's like wrapping my head around the axle, but I think we got there a lot faster. Well, yeah. So now I think I got. Well, now I'm doing a running total. The last one out for the two was. But the total amount was the way we did split it up before, because I know that went through a couple different iterations. I guess what I'm getting to is, I know we still got a lot of contingency relatively on the drainage project. I know, like, we're looking at putting some guardrail around, and there's probably some other things. But there's still about $400,000. So, anything else in the area?
What kind of limitations are there?
You tell me and we'll figure out I can't guarantee they'll say yes. Well, one thing that we
didn't get approved or, I mean, they didn't, there wasn't compromise.
So one we can kind of claim, which we did at Mariana, is construction traffic on the side streets, back paving, over. The main thing is it's got to kind of be in that area because of the environmental clearance. But generally, if we can give them any kind of halfway good reason for something that's going to benefit, yes. No, I mean, like one